Yep. Yep. It happened. It happened. Did it? Yeah. Yeah, it did. It happened. In case you don't know what I'm talking about.
Jake, bring your ass on up here. Come on, Jake.
How the fight finished
Jake.
off.
Come on home, Jake.
Oh, so boy.
A jab and a straight right hand, and you have to say that, you know, Ben Askren has been hit by some MMA folks and not gone down. That was a beautiful right hand by
That was a
Jake
hell
Paul.
of a knockout, Al.
Never been hit by a YouTuber before.
No, oh, wow.
Yeah.
Apparently that's the difference.
Kind of power.
Subscribe, man.
Jab, and you got to give Jake Paul credit for.
So it happened. Jake Paul knocked the hell out of Ben Askren. Yeah, it's unfortunate. It's really, really unfortunate because Jake Paul just did not look that great at all. I mean, he really didn't. He looked about the same as he did in the Nate Robinson fight. He was overextended in certain positions. He was telegraphing him. Even the right hand he hit Ben with, it was such a telegraphed right hand. A boxer who's been doing this for 6 to 8 months is going to be able to see that. I mean, he just didn't really look that good at all. He looked like a guy who's been boxing for like 2 years. I mean, I'm going to be honest. I've seen guys that have been boxing for 2 years that look better than he does. I mean, he still looks amateur. He does not look like a professional boxer. And this is a testament as to how bad Ben Askren is and not a testament as to how good Jake Paul is. Because by the looks of how Ben looked last night in his defense, I'm convinced a boxer who's been boxing for like 4 to 6 months could have beaten him. I mean, you got to understand, he is not a boxer. And this is one of the reasons I'm making this video. And I want to illustrate that Jake Paul has done a very good job at convincing people that he is a boxer, that he's a high-level boxer, and he's not. Now, people are going to see, oh, Jake Paul beats Ben Askren, previous, multiple-time MMA champion in ONE FC and Bellator. You have to understand, MMA is a multifaceted sport. There's judo, wrestling, jiu-jitsu, Muay Thai, kickboxing, and boxing, right? You could be a master at one of them and be terrible at the rest and actually still reach a pretty high level. And that's basically Ben Askren. I mean, Ben Askren is one of the highest wrestlers there ever was. He's an Olympic wrestler. And his whole goal in mixed martial arts was to take guys down and beat them up. And he was phenomenal at it. He did a very good job at that. And that's how he won championships, right? And his striking was pretty terrible. I mean, he would even say, I don't really train striking. Like, my whole point, my whole goal is just to get guys down and, wrestle them. And once you would get them down, you pretty much weren't getting back up unless he wanted you to. And even if you got back up, you're going straight back down. So people see this and they think, oh, he beat a high-level athlete. He beat another high-level boxer. It's not the case at all. Ben Askren is the furthest thing from even a good amateur boxer. I mean, he would be considered just like a beginner, to be honest. I mean, his defense just looked absolutely terrible. It was like it was non-existent, right? I mean, it was just, there was no head movement. He was like stiff as a board. He didn't bring his hands back at all like you should. I mean, it just looked really, really terrible for Ben. And the problem when you beat an opponent like that is we don't really learn much about you. And even though Ben is incredibly just unskilled and uncoordinated and just not good at boxing, the little bit that we saw of Jake, he didn't even look that good. Like I said, his punches were they were overextended. He was throwing everything with 100% power. Lots of times he would knock himself off balance because he was just throwing everything so hard. His footwork wasn't that good. There were certain times he kind of was just had a little bit of like, kind of uncertainty in his feet and in his footwork and in his movement. Even when he got hit by Ben, he didn't react well to it at all, and he was backing up. And at one point, he was even like running away from Ben. It was like the 30 seconds that we saw of Jake, he didn't even look very good. Granted, he still knocked him out. It's like, I'm convinced at this point, like I said, even an amateur that's not very good could have knocked Ben out. So it's unfortunate, but it is what it is. I do have to say, Jake did, he did what he had to do, and he has been working hard. He has been training. He has been doing what he's needed to do to get that win. And, he props to him. You does take some sort of skill to knock someone out. I know he's been training, I think, coming up 3 years now, but I have done interviews with other guys that I'm going to be releasing, talking about Jake Paul's current skill level and where he's actually at. And they all say the same thing, which is that, you know, he's decent, but he doesn't know how to conserve his energy. He throws everything very powerfully. He's bad at going backwards. He doesn't take a hit well. He gets overwhelmed. You know, they've all said that. So I'll be releasing those interviews soon, and you'll get to see for yourself, you know, his sparring partners talking about what it's like to spar with him. So it was an interesting event. I mean, it was basically just a huge attention grab, just throwing every famous person they could in there. You had Oscar De La Hoya high on God knows what. You had Pete Davidson commentating. You had Justin Bieber performing. I mean, it was just filled with famous people. Just a big attention grab, and I think Triller did a pretty decent job. So props to them. Jake Paul now needs to fight someone high level. And this is another thing I want to illustrate. He called out Ben Askren for a reason. He called out Ben Askren. He's not an idiot. He knows Ben Askren's striking is terrible, but he can still convince the public that Ben Askren is a high-level athlete and fighter, and if he beats him, it makes him look high-level as well. But that's not the case, because like I just said, you can be a high-level MMA fighter and have terrible, terrible striking, which, you know, essentially Ben Askren does not have very good striking, and he'd be the first to admit that. He's even said before he doesn't really train striking at all. So it is what it is. It was an interesting event. Jake Paul's got to fight. I hope he fights, you know, someone who actually knows what they're doing, like a Nate Diaz, or be awesome if he fought like Colby Covington or something, or, you know, or an actual boxer who actually boxes. But who knows? He probably won't. I'm sure he'll try and get another, I don't know, celebrity or something like that who is not known for boxing or hasn't trained boxing before. So it'll be interesting. We'll have to see what happens. You can comment below. Let me know what you think, how you thought it went. If you thought Ben should have lasted longer. If you thought, oh, this was another thing, that ref could have definitely extended the fight and let it go, you know, until Ben got knocked down again. But he called it super quick, so it is what it is. Anyways, let me know what you think in the comments. If you liked this video, go ahead and click the like button. If you want to see more, you could subscribe. Of course, my name's Angelo, and until next time.